The moment that we hoped would never come, Banshees, is here. Drink away your sorrows for the series finale of Banshee. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's so hard
You guys,
to say goodbye.
it's over. Drink your sorrows away with us, Banshees.
Oh my God.
I'm Oriana, your host, joined this evening by an amazing crew from Banshee. First, we have Isaac, who has made us our drinks tonight.
Yeah, I made us an old-fashioned for a good old-fashioned ass-kicking that happened here in the movie with some blood orange bitters. It's like blood and banshee or something. Some sort of theme.
Love it.
I'm very sad. Follow me on Twitter if you want to, in case I kill myself after this experience. Once it's over, that means the show's officially over.
Here we are. And sitting next to me, of course, is very own Ivana Milicevic.
Yeah, yes. I like the pause right between
Right?
my name.
And Anna Ayora.
Nice.
Yes. Chris Coy. And of course, Mr. Adam Targum.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Our great
Of
and powerful
course.
Oz.
Yes. Okay, Isaac, I want to ask you.
Oh, don't do it. I don't want to.
Okay, fine. I'll ask you.
No.
So
Okay,
you
no, you can
guys
ask
just
me.
watched the episode,
Yeah,
right?
just
Together
Yes.
for the first time.
Yes.
Isaac and I just watched it for the first time yesterday, and then again today.
And then again
Top
today.
level thoughts. Top level thoughts.
Bawling. Yeah,
feels.
first word.
Tears.
Feels.
Feelers.
Yeah, lots of
Chris
feels.
Coy was crying throughout the episode.
Whole thing. He told us he wept.
He wept. Oh,
I-
strong men cry.
Yeah, well, I told you guys that I wept last episode.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It was a rough one.
I also wept gently both times, specifically at the scene that sadly happened. That I knew was coming, but the moment of seeing you in Tom's arms there was just beautiful.
Oh
I
my
don't
God,
know.
let's not even go there yet.
It was
We're
really
not
good.
ready.
I mean,
not
I'm not gonna talk
ready.
details,
Weeping.
but that was
Weeping.
that was the moment. Also, man, that was a brutal fight. But we'll talk more
We'll
specifically.
get there. Yeah. So I couldn't agree more. Amazing episode. My heart is kind of broken, but it feels like it was treated very well. Yes, we're crying. So we open up on this episode and we see Proctor and we see the Nazi gang that's come for him.
The Nazis.
The Nazis.
Nazis.
Those nasty Nazis are coming for him. But we have a surprise. Senator Mitchum turns out to be the big head honcho.
Yeah.
Do we
yeah.
have
That guy.
Nazis in our government? I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, we may or may not have actually fashioned that character after a true to form, real life,
Donald Trump?
unpleasant. No, it was actually David Duke who obviously was our prototype for that. Yeah, people have a lot of fucked up ideologies that tend to rise to power in a lot of different places. So. Again, I just saw that the Oklahoma legislature has passed a law that makes abortion illegal in Oklahoma. And if that can get passed in the modern day in this country, then clearly there are Nazis in the government.
Good
I like
answer.
that. And we see Calvin at the beginning of the final screws coming loose in this scene.
Are there any
The
screws?
guy who
If
played
there were any
Senator
screws left.
Mitchum really loved knocking the shit out of me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Did he actually hit you? It looked real.
looked-
Okay.
Every take.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yes.
Because again, as we all know, and as you guys discussed last week, my friend Mr. Coy here is a method actor. Would that be inappropriate?
Sure.
That would be an understatement.
So once again, when it came to Chris doing his own stunt in this case, getting the abuse that he got, he insisted that this actor give him
It's
the
like
full.
cheating, though.
Yeah.
I mean, but because that way I don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe, because the truth is we could cheat and it would look just as good, but maybe not, because...
But not in Calvin's eyes.
Again, the performance was incomparable, and it looks
Yep.
like it hurts because it did, and Chris, as always, gives 100%, as do both of these ladies.
What's
and
that actor?
I thought it
every-
looked kind of fake.
Everybody else.
Can't believe it's real.
Yeah.
That guy
We
was
didn't
really,
enhance
really
that at all.
good, though.
We didn't
That
enhance
guy was really good.
I'd
Yeah,
be pissed if I
fantastic.
was replaced by someone named Monty with worse tattoos than me.
True. Yeah.
That was just that
Yeah.
alone. I was like, ouch.
I think they're all generally pretty bad tattoos, with the swastikas and that. But
the spider web on the neck, it's especially offensive.
spiderweb. He had a spider web on his elbow. It's a thing.
Yeah, okay.
You gotta mark it so people know how scary you are. Well, and just seeing like just one more moment of Calvin being kicked just to the side. We're gonna pick a new captain. Here's Monty. How do you feel about that? We don't care. The best thing for you to do is shut your mouth. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I like what we talked about last week about Calvin being a purist. Because here he is feeling so justified about what he did with Watts, and that is going to be enough to perhaps get him killed. Right? So it's amazing that that's his perspective. And was it shared by the rest of the crew that he's leading as you walk in your mind as you're walking down the driveway?
Yeah. As Calvin leaves, he knows that army's with him. Yeah. On the day, at least. And even what was interesting is that those extras, even though they have no obligation to play that, when I was walking through them, they were like acting just because they wanted to, and they were like patting me and being like, "I got you, we got you."
Wow.
And it was like,
wow.
We've had the
half
best
of those extras were new guys that I had never met. Some of them were guys that had come in
It's
previously.
background people,
and
it's not extras.
And some of them were real
Background
neo-Nazis,
artists.
so it actually worked out quite
They're the
well.
background artists.
But
They are.
yeah. I feel like a lot of those, like the Calvin had won over a lot of those dudes for whatever reason. But yeah, on the day, just.
Again, since this is an ass kiss fest and we're celebrating the show, again, I want to say that is a testament to your performance on the day.
Yeah.
Because there was something so charismatic and persuasive about what you're doing that even, in the moment, all of the people around you, you captured that spirit. So I think that was actually very compelling. We all felt it, and of course it's on the screen, but when you've got 100 extras standing around and they're watching you and they're listening to your words, great writing as well, but Mr. Tropper, I didn't write that. So I think that's why it was so effective.
Sweet. Yeah, I thought it was super cool.
Can we?
Go.
Sorry, no. I was just gonna say. I think we should just jump into your scene with your brother.
Oh,
With the bunch
Why
of
don't
boys.
you?
Why don't we?
Why not?
Because,
Okay.
oh my
Because
gosh.
after that, after you're defeated, you're like, F it all.
F it all.
Go see Kurt. Go on.
Yes.
What did you guys feel?
Well, you go see. I loved that shot first of all, where there's the space between them, right? There's this duel, this showdown.
The void.
What did you guys? How did you feel about this when you're watching it?
I thought it was a really beautiful shot
Yeah.
as well. And there was like the void, the
The stare down, the duel.
I
Coming
think we all
together.
said, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
Ann and I were gasping
Yes,
the whole
yeah.
time watching it.
No,
By the way,
what?
watching it on my computer, not good sound, not like how it's going to be tomorrow. Like little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But guess what? The emotion comes through. Like I love.
Yeah.
And my computer, 3 of us around a computer to get ready for
You're still
I was
crying.
telling them like. They think we're the cool ones. Like we show up and they make like us fancy cool drinks for television and all this
they
shit. Like
mean
we were
me,
sitting
by
in
the way.
her.
We've just
Meaning
been
I
huddled
think-
around.
Yeah,
the
we're like
computer,
huddled on a couch, like
Chris-
off, drinking coffee.
Correction, Chris. I made these cocktails.
And they're so
They
good.
business.
No, I know where
He
the
was
love
just
comes
here.
from.
Now, okay, just kidding.
That scene to me is another example of what Banshee does so well that no other show does, is that we create characters with such dimension and such nuanced layers. We have a neo-Nazi who is a vile human being who
No, he's
does
not. He has
the
heart.
most noble thing that anybody can do. He sacrifices himself so that his brother and his wife and his child can find happiness. That scene was all about
That's what it was.
him giving himself to that, realizing that there was nothing more that he could do but get out of their way for their happiness.
Yes.
To have that empathy for a character, to have those layers, I defy any other show out there to go to those layers, and that's what I think we've done so well across the the course of this series, and why it's such a dream to write it, and I imagine such a dream for you guys to bring these characters to life. Is that they're not just black and white characters.
Yeah.
Everybody lives in the gray. We talk about it all the time. People come to me constantly and say, Kai Proctor is my favorite hero. I root for him all the time over
Right.
everybody else. Kai Proctor's not a nice guy.
Yeah.
Ulrich's a nice guy.
Right.
Kai Proctor's not a nice guy. And again, Chris, put so much humanity into this character. And I think defied a lot of expectation. I've heard you guys say, we all talked about it. He was not designed to be lovable and cuddly. We don't condone any of the awful things that he does. But at the end of the
you guys
day,
gave him human problems
well,
to overcome.
you did a lot of that yourself as well. So.
Can we talk about the fight?
Well, I was going to say.
and the family relationship as well, like that. You know that. I think throughout this episode and this season in general, thank you, like that story of that family bond was just so powerful for this last episode, for it to come to an end in that way. It was just incredibly moving.
Yeah,
I love him. Go.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. Just like one, like that was my thing, is because as Calvin's coming towards Tom there, and he's like saying like, "I'll kill my own son." These all just seem like the kind of things you say to make him.
Shot.
Yeah,
It's like
That was the
it's like death by cop.
Suicide by cop.
Yeah,
That was a
exactly.
real choice that was made. The second that when Maggie walks out, there's a shot where Calvin sees her, and right then he decides it's time to go.
Right.
Right.
I got to give her over, and
Now,
he knows himself. He knows that exactly what Maggie said earlier, last episode. She said, as long as he's breathing, he will come for me.
And
And I
Calvin
know
knows
that's
too.
true too, even though like to a fault.
And in a way, it's absolution and repentance for everything that you've ever done.
Right.
You talked a lot about the origin of this character. The truth is, this guy never had a chance.
Right.
From minute one, whether it was his own father or being indoctrinated into a culture of hate, he never had a chance to be normal or functional.
Yeah.
But he sees an opportunity for his wife and for his child,
Exactly.
and for his reformed brother to actually have that happiness that he can never have. So what could be more noble and commendable than that?
Not
Well,
to
that's not
mention,
exactly how it goes down, though.
but not to mention. Hold on, I have to speak. The reformed brother who got him into the brotherhood.
Yes.
To begin with, which is like such the slam, like you got me
why
here,
live your
and then
own
you
life when you can
believed
just
it.
steal mine?
You bought in, or
Right, and
Calvin did.
It makes sense that he would be the one to kind of release you from that, even if it is, I guess, killing you.
Yeah.
That moment too, when you said like you effed my wife, like that was like the
my
most
God.
pain, and that was like at the moment where like we're saying like he's a terrible character, he's a
because,
Nazi, he's
like,
got this terrible ideology, but that moment I felt so much empathy for him,
Right.
just
Well, 'cause
thinking
you
like
know that
this guy's just been screwed over, even by his brother, not intentionally, but
It wouldn't matter who it was though, because at Calvin's core, like true to fact, the only thing you could strip everything away from him, he loves that woman and that kid.
yeah.
He loves being a husband and a father. He loves providing for them.
Yes, he
And
does.
the second that he realizes that like he's really lost her to Kurt, and he's already gone too far to be a good father at this point.
Right.
Then like what else is left?
Yeah, you can also see it in Tom's performance there too. Like,
That's the thing too. It's like
I mean, just the look on his face,
I
like,
couldn't-
that
please
deserves a
don't make
moment.
do it.
Don't make me.
Oh, it was just.
I think
so
we should raise a glass.
really
We
should.
should. I agree.
beautiful, yeah.
Ching ching.
To
When Kurt
Kurt.
says,
Ching
"Just
ching.
please walk away."
Yeah. Oh, it was so just. I was like, somehow I'm like, can it
He
not
doesn't
happen?
even know. He hasn't seen it.
But-
He doesn't even know.
But
Oh, wow.
the great
Tom
thing too is
Pelphrey.
we planned, and I don't remember which episode exactly. Earlier on in the season, Maggie actually says to him, "You should kill him.
Yeah.
You should
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
him." And he says, "That's my brother."
Yeah, I
and in
can't
that
do that.
moment, the seed is planted because I think throughout this entire season, he knew that ultimately it
would
was
come
going
to
to,
a
and
head.
that you were
That's
going
the
to
only
force his
way.
hand,
Yeah,
and he was
only way.
fighting that, and he didn't
only
want.
one
He
way
didn't,
a dog
even up
fight
to
out
last
of
minute.
Denial almost.
It was.
The
It
words
was.
right from my mouth.
So.
Can we talk
Yeah.
about the fight,
Yeah.
please? Because that was a freaking amazing fight.
So brutal. My favorite moment during the fight is when he picks you up and you're like, oh shit! Like there's like this fight is real, man.
I like
Well,
the
it
brass
was.
knuckles.
We
That was
beat the shit
very.
out of each other that day.
That was very smooth and unexpected, and yet remarkably accurate.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
for
he
that
would have
type.
those.
He probably taught you how to use those knuckles, didn't he?
They were his.
Oh shit.
in your mind, weren't they? That's your.
That is so
It's
good.
funny. I remember the first time it was season 3, and we had brought you in for just one episode. It was the introduction of this character, and I think the first time we rehearsed that scene with you and Tom, where there was a little bit of that wrestling, about,
Yeah.
and literally they grabbed each other in a rehearsal and pulled each other in, and we could all just look at each other and said, "Holy shit!" And you could feel it. I mean, you guys became brothers in a lot of
So
ways,
true.
and
So
that
They are
tension
to
and
this
that
day.
love. No, and it's amazing,
this
and it's on
day.
the screen. It's on the screen.
So who comes up with these ideas of like pulling the antenna off the car and stabbing? Like who's
I do.
Like is there a writer room just for how can we impale each other and beat people to death in inventive ways?
Well, we're all very twisted and fucked up. And look, there's a level of wish fulfillment. I can speak for myself. That I'll be sitting in traffic in LA and some asshole will cut me off or something, and I will instantly think about all the ways that I can punish this person. And TV is the great way to do it. I will say though, we
yes.
do Jonathan and I and the writers' room. We throw out some pretty crazy shit and we put it on the page, and then it gets opened up to Marcus and the stunt team and to everybody else and all the other beautiful collaborators on this show, and everybody sort of adds a little piece to it. So it starts with a little nugget and then becomes, you know, something that you see on the screen, and that's totally a team effort. You know, there is no one person responsible for what you see on the screen. It is everybody.
Everybody.
Chris, you bounced off a tree. Was that
was
you?
my favorite move in
That
the fight.
was insane.
I was like,
That was
what?
one of our gasps.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that was a rubber tree, though. It was not a rubber tree. That was a real
That's
tree.
just for
That
Carrie
was a real
fights.
tree.
But was that you?
I think so. It's hard to say. I mean, there's two moments that on the day. So I found out through Banshee this season that if the stunt guy shows up and I don't let him do a move,
They don't make money.
he doesn't get paid.
Not as
never knew
much.
that.
Not as much. Yeah.
I never knew that. My whole career.
That's what you learn.
I've like fought stunt guys.
You're like, I got
No,
this,
I'll
and
do
they're
it.
like, oh, and they're always like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, it's not. You don't need to be macho,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, you don't get it. I'm a sick puppy. I like it.
Well, I want to say one thing with these three incredible individuals sitting here, an example of the fact that our action is better than any other action on any other show because it's 99% actor action. We have great stunt doubles out there who are always standing by and ready to jump in and do an amazing
And they
job.
do for the gnarly stuff that'll shut production
Right, for the stuff that we go, well, if you break your arm, we can't shoot the next 3 weeks.
flamethrowers.
But all three of these amazing individuals did
jumping
a
through that
lot of their
window.
own stunts, and it shows on the screen.
Yeah.
When you can see their face actually throwing punches
Yes.
and actually getting thrown through windows and rolling around, and you know it's them doing it,
Yep.
it heightens the realism, and that's what makes our fights, you know, bar none, so
What about
above
that
all
kick?
other.
Punching through
That
windows.
kick, the boot with Kurt's boot. I feel like flat.
Oh,
That's
Das
me.
That's you.
That's
Flying back.
Ouch.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and when he falls dead, that's
The
him.
only-
Yeah,
That's
I was
not
gonna ask about
easy.
that because like your body
Guys, by
goes
season 4, I was not doing
I
that.
ended up, I
the
ended up,
knockout
like-
punch.
I ended up really sick, like allergy sick, because of doing that. Every time I would fall, I would hit the grass and like, you know, grass or whatever.
Dander.
Would kick up,
Falling.
yeah, and would kick up, and I had to lay there for a little bit each time. We only did it, you know, a handful of times. But it was enough to where for like 2 days after that, I was like super stuffy and sick, and I attributed it to that. I was like, it's got to be falling face first to the ground
Maybe.
over and over again.
You know, that and doing a 12-hour stunt sequence.
Yes.
You know, may
Yeah.
have something
Bouncing
to
off
do with
trees.
it.
That was such a
Yeah.
good fight. You're so good, Chris Coy. You're such an amazing
That was the best day
actor.
of my actor life, for sure.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah. Me and Tom
I
both
know
talked
those
about that.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that scene will
love those
that scene
days. They
will
don't
live
happen
on
all
for a
the
long time.
time.
It's truly one of the best.
I agree.
Put that on your reel. You should put it on your reel.
We'll support
Real.
I have a feeling it's gonna make the reel. This
yeah.
is this is the best day of my Banshee life, by the way. I can't believe you're all here. It's
We love you.
Amazing.
We support you, and we're
We're
so
so happy.
grateful for you.
this is
Yeah,
odd. I
thank
feel like
you
it should,
guys for your support.
What do you think about a
thank
Banshee
you.
after show?
Yes.
Like a year and a half later.
I feel
2
like
years later.
that's the bar after we finish here. That's my
Probably.
vote.
Okay,
We should probably keep talking about the show. We'll
moving
get
right
Yeah.
along.
Were there
we
other
do-
things other than
There
that
were a
fight?
couple things. We get to see a little bit of the movement with Veronica Dawson and how that, you know, ends are tied up with Hood.
Which, sorry,
Yes.
you're probably going to talk about this, but I called this from episode 1.
We both called it, did we not?
I called it from episode 1. You
What?
did not call it from
Fine.
episode 1. That she wasn't part of the murders. That it was somebody else.
Yes. Yes.
That it was.
Right,
that it
right.
was
We were
it was
discussing
not
this
part
the
of the
whole
serial
time,
killer.
right? Like, if anyone did it, it would have been Burton.
We discussed it after I brought it up.
Okay, yes, fine.
Say it. You called it.
You
Just
called
say
it.
By the way,
wanna
You
pat on
actually
the back,
said that
that's all
when
I'm
I
asking.
came in. I think you,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, see?
when we showed up on Banshee season 4, we didn't know who any one of us could have done it. Then over time, we were like, I think
Well, it was also
I
the
think
worst
it's
kept
Burton.
secret ever because I think I may have mentioned to Matt Roush at one point that he could very possibly be the killer, and we all know
didn't, he
Matt.
didn't.
We know Matt. Yeah, but Matt would be like, I don't know, who could it be? Maybe it's me.
Well, yeah, while he's like fixing an invisible
I don't
boat.
know.
Are you saying
it could be a guy named Smirton or
Are you saying unlike his character, he likes to talk? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes.
He definitely talks more than
You know
his
what?
character.
Here's to Matt Roush.
Yeah.
The man who has done
Amazing.
more with a character that is less dialogue than any other character on television and has created this
amen to
enigmatic.
that.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when I
Great
cried
job.
the most in the
Keep
finale,
doing this.
actually.
Oh my goodness.
Burton going down.
So I love that we get this finish with Veronica Dawson. They have their weird intimacy, you know, that they share. They're both broken. right? She says, hit me up sometime. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Right?
He's like, no, I
you
will.
still smoke crack. Meanwhile, back at the ranch at the airport, we've got the drug deal going down with the cartel.
Yep.
And we have
The Colombians.
and we have Miss
Carrie.
Well, it's just like, psst, hey, what's up? Guess
Yeah,
what?
but how hot did she look coming
Colombians
out of
are
that
here.
truck in that leather outfit?
Thank you, leather.
Amazing.
Well, luckily Anna is Colombian, so I totally, she was my tech advisor. And I was like, what happens with Colombian? And she was like, here's what you got to do. And that's how we got
An amazing scene.
with Carrie and the Colombians.
I love that Brock gets his moment.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That was so cool. And by the way, is that your line there? That like your drugs just got blown up by a rocket or whatever? What was the line?
I don't know. All of the lines blend together.
It sounded like one of yours.
When you
to me.
get Tropper and I in a room and you get a Moscow Mule and Jonathan, things just
one,
start.
though.
just one.
That's all
one. I'll
it
take.
takes.
Just
You
one.
never know.
It felt very Targum-esque to me. I don't know.
No, I'll tell you what's Targum-esque is nice car.
Yes.
That is definitely.
I sold my soul to the devil to get those cars on that show.
By the way, I noticed all that lovely sponsorship with sugar at the bar at the end.
Wait a minute.
No.
No?
No gratuitous Heineken and all the alcohol.
No, the
gratuitous
only
cars.
company that actually we had made a deal with, and not really a sponsorship, was Yingling, and that was because we were in Pennsylvania,
where they would
Pittsburgh.
have it.
Yeah, so there were a lot of Yingling signs in the bar, and it was funny. At one point early on in the season, we walked in, and there were hundreds of them everywhere, and we said,
And
"Really?"
I was like, what's Yingling?
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
then, and then I learned.
They were
so
everywhere.
effective
so,
marketing.
19 of those signs are in my office at home, so thank you.
Your Yingling office.
That explosion was awesome.
Amazing.
And real.
That was so cool.
How-
And real, yeah.
Yeah, what's that like?
Well,
So cool.
we were like cracking up and loving Banshee for the fact that like Carrie looks at Brock and then is like, and I'm gonna duck,
Yeah.
and she's ducking to get away from the what is
like
it called?
A rocket
A rocket.
Carrie's
And I was like, got it.
Right?
Yeah, I've been
I
in
love
this
it.
situation before. I'm just going to dodge a rocket. That's how
also,
you handle it.
I like how Proctor calls the truck and says, pull it up, or Burton does.
Yeah,
And
Burton
then,
does.
so I'm like, who's behind the truck that's taking orders that's on the phone, like, at gunpoint, but Job is on the roof? Like,
No, it's probably Job in the
magic.
car.
Job just went full gecko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine.
He went full gecko.
Amazing scene. What about compared to your fire thrower scene? How is that?
You guys,
Your flamethrower.
I will forever. All of my first children have to be named like
All of your first children?
like all of them
Flamethrower.
Yeah,
have to be named like because Jonathan and Adam wrote me flamethrower scene. This will never. The chances of this ever happening in my life. And by the way, the chances of this happening to any of the other actors in this room is 0. And I got
never
this.
know.
And it was a real flamethrower. They
Yep.
created. They
Yep.
built with like.
We made that. Yeah.
They made that for
cool.
me.
Yeah. Mike Sexton, the best prop guy in the business, basically said,
Ever.
I'm going to make you one. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because there's very few places, and this is a hats off to Cinemax, where you can pitch them that one of our characters actually is carrying around a flamethrower, and they'll go, okay. So it was
Yeah.
a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for all of us. So.
No,
Right.
It's just one of the leads of the show. If she catches on fire, she'll be fine.
Oh, I was drenched in flame retardant.
Exactly, but like how you...
One of the most beautiful women that's
Drenched.
ever lived.
That's why the
We're just
ponytail.
gonna throw,
Yeah. No, but as Ivana told the story a couple weeks ago, literally, we all ran. We all left. It was too hot.
Exactly.
She's still standing going, hey, guys, I'm still here. What's going on?
Oh, guys, I was blowing black soot out of my nose
Yeah.
for
Yes.
a day.
A lot of people say, that, we bleed and sweat and give everything for the show. In this case, literally, these
Yeah.
guys give
really do.
everything. They give everything, and they certainly give of themselves. I'm sure there were some bruises you had the day after. I'm sure both of you guys, also had.
I learned. I started to take more vitamin K. Not kidding, and I started to bruise less. But like those first seasons, actually the first 3 seasons, the amount of bruises I had was like ridiculous.
Yeah, but I want to say, especially having just watched that episode, we always talk about it, but there's something true about the fact that, when you're going through it, it can be hell sometimes. And then it's 6,
Hell
7,
yeah.
8, 9 months. It's been how long ago since we shot
Oh
that
my
scene?
God.
I saw.
And I'm looking at them now, going like, oh, why didn't I have more fight scenes? When on the day I couldn't do anymore. I really couldn't do anymore.
But you forget about all the pain and sweat,
now
and you
I'm
go,
like, why didn't I do more?
that's why you forget about it.
Because she has glass in her fingers still.
I do.
From us?
Yeah.
From that day?
Yes.
I remember
Oh,
that.
wow.
You still have that in there?
Yeah.
Real
You
glass?
have it forever. Shrapnel.
Forever.
Banshee shrapnel.
Banshee forever. War wounds. It was worth it though. It was worth it.
I have a paper cut that I.
All that writing.
Feverishly.
Can you tell
right.
us about that fight a little bit now that we have the two of you together?
Yeah.
I mean,
And please don't fight in here.
it was
We would
amazing.
never fight in here. We would only.
We had so much fun training.
We had so much fun training.
We did have so much fun training. And that day in the fight, I mean, it was treacherous. Like, it was a really long
Because
day.
we didn't have a lot of time because we were getting close to the end, and there were not days, and there were not enough days, not enough hours, and not enough dollars to do what we needed to do.
You girls
so
were
that
in that
fight
pit,
was like
though.
half of what it could have been in terms of time.
Yeah. I mean, we had
we
to make
just
the
went-
most of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned how to shoot that gun, I think, that night before. Or that the day before.
And these
But you look
guns are
damn
no
good doing
jokes.
it.
And
You
these
see
guns
that?
are
When
no.
Hoon came over and was like 2 fingers squeeze.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and I feel like that was the only shot you got to do of it. And you know what? Movies and TV shows make using guns look easy. There's a lot of power behind them, even with blanks.
Yeah.
That and big fat guns like what you shot.
Yeah.
It's not just point and shoot. You'd be like all over the
But
place.
what you're seeing is another reason why this show was so special is because we actually had fun making it. I mean, it was
Yes.
fun, and it was a whole lot of
awesome.
work, but it was great. I mean, all of these sequences, I mean, we talking about them now, and everything, but it was fun to make these shows.
Are you saying it's not fun on other shows?
Yes.
You know what? We
Yes.
we actually
Yes.
are
Yes.
saying that.
Yes.
I mean,
We
we
actually
actually
are
are
saying
liberty
that.
on this show that I don't think, you know,
This show is very
Banshee
special. Not my
and
first show.
AfterBuzz TV's Banshee after show.
Right.
Only
it.
2 fun shows.
Well, I think you guys needed more stunts.
Well, it gets real violent in here after
it
me and
does.
Oriana finish.
Eye daggers.
What else happens in this episode?
This amazing scene in the ravine when Hood
Oh,
takes
man.
T-bones Proctor.
The car tumbling, I like the perspective inside the
How
car.
did you
That was
get
really
that?
cool.
Should we talk about the
A
car tumbling real fast?
a callback to season 1.
Yes.
You should
And
share
the
your
drama.
story about
Yes.
the
Well,
about the car
let me tell you
scene
about
too.
the car. See, we had this masterful plan of having this car roll down this ravine, and it was a practical stunt. We dropped the car at the top. It was going to roll down. So we dropped it, and it rolled down about 3 feet and hit a tree.
The first
I
tree
remember
it could
this.
have possibly
And then it stayed up on that hillside for 9 hours while we tried to figure out how to get it down. So we finally were able to lower it down. There's a lot of safety concerns here. We got it down. We were able to remove the tree. We got it back up, and we were all set to go. And they pull the release cable after 9 hours, and it drops about another foot and stops. So it took us literally 12 hours just to get that
Wow.
car down
But
the side of the ravine.
when you got it, that's a practical. It's still practical, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
So-
but again, we just had to cut around. It was supposed to roll all the way down. Instead, it rolled a foot, and then
Yes.
we cut away, and it rolled another foot, and we cut away, and then we dropped it on its foot.
But it ultimately did.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, having that, you know, there is a Proctor and a Burton dummy in there.
Is there really?
Oh, that look like really them.
Well, they are in it. Well,
Okay.
well, again, to get a little behind the scenes here,
Sure.
rolling the car actually has a dummy in there, which is what crushed when the car actually got crushed. When they're in there
Yeah.
getting thrown around, they're
That's a
actually
different-
airbags. They're hydraulic airbags that are moving the
Oh,
car
really?
back and forth and debris being thrown at them. So they're
That
in the
sounds
car
fun.
being jostled around. The car's just not going a full 360 with them in it.
Oh,
That's really good.
Yes, and it was great to see Ulrich get out with literally pieces of, balsa wood in his hair and blood coming. And we're not going again. I mean, it was just a great.
God, I
And
love
Ralph's
him.
going, let's go again. I mean, that's the difference
Yes.
between the two of them.
A great line when Hood sees his leg and says, "That looks broken."
Yeah.
And
Let me help
kicks
you out with that.
Yeah, that ravine.
such a
that
Hood
was
line.
great. That was 3.5 days. We had 2 full unit days and a day and a half second unit day to shoot that stuff, and it was August in a ravine with mosquitoes as large as Chris's head, and 112
tonight,
degrees,
but yeah.
full 100% humidity. But
That was a heartbreaking
so
time because I even remember our special effects guys being heartbroken, like felt like they let you down. Do you remember? Like everybody
it was tough.
like,
well, it was hard. That week was
and
the
it
hardest
is, and
week
it is
of
because
any
again,
of it.
you're running out of everything.
Yeah, but we were when an actor
Out of crafty,
finishes a
nothing
series, when it's their last day, you wrap them
No
out and you make a
coffee.
speech about them. You say goodbye
yeah.
to them. We were doing that every every single day with people who had been on the show for 4 years. So for a week straight, it was one of the most emotionally trying and difficult times, while we were also still trying to work and shoot the show.
Right, yeah.
So
you were heavily involved in that scene particularly.
well, I mean, I ended up directing some of the second unit stuff, and I did shoot some of that final, you know, Burton
Some of those
Proctor
shots.
in his lap, which was probably the hardest thing that I've had to do, because in a lot of ways it felt like literally killing off someone that, you know, that we all loved. It was tough.
The shot in the ravine
apologizing.
before Hood pulls Burton away. That shot, and then the overhead, when Hood tosses Burton on Proctor, and then the overhead, all of those shots, I just were breathtaking to me.
Yeah, imagine getting a crane into that ravine.
Well, that's what I was thinking. How the hell did that
But for me,
happen?
one of the most, you know, amazing moments for me in that scene is Lily's work. And seeing
I love
Rebecca,
that.
and that's again another one of those moments we talk about a team effort. So we were setting up that shot of her standing down at the end of the stream, and obviously she's a vision, and we're preparing to shoot it, and one of the special effects guy comes over and goes, "Oh, look at these, you know, they're whippoorwills, I believe." He goes, "There's a whole field of them over there. We should use those." And in that moment,
That's how we got them?
all those guys
how we
ran.
got
They
that-
grabbed, and
That
literally,
unicorn look,
literally
that
all of these guys, literally just
yes.
shaking these whippoorwills, putting that into the air, and with these high def cameras, it created that incredible
So does
ethereal
the
effect.
allergies.
I didn't realize that's how
Yeah,
that
that's
happened.
what it was.
In the moment, one of the guys had seen that field.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
I thought that was like
and
one
that,
of the.
that shot is it was such the perfect send off for Rebecca, for that character, for Lily, and I believe actually we wrapped Lily out right
No,
after
you
she
did.
shot that. That was
I
the
was there
final.
for everybody's
That was the
wrap.
final thing that we shot of Lily. And
Oh, my baby.
Yeah, I thought that was like one of the most beautiful
so
shots.
I mean, what did you
Yeah, it was-
guys think
Yeah,
of that being a fitting end for Burton? What did you guys think?
I'm just trying not to cry.
I can't.
I mean, I
loved
like.
it.
I also just like that it was set up from last season, like his sort of animosity towards her. So to me, that was a good payoff for their relationship.
That he was concerned.
Yeah, that he was concerned with how it's changing. I keep saying Ulrich. What's his? I can't.
Kai.
Kai. Well, geez.
Yeah.
Think of you guys' real names sometimes and character names, and my brain doesn't know which one is right.
That's
but
because we are characters.
You know, for me, what was
Carrier
the
Anna.
most important moment of all of that was Hood. Is that Hood ultimately getting his ultimate revenge on Proctor by making him do it.
Yes.
In that moment, he could have snapped Burton's neck. He
Sure.
beat Burton,
Yeah.
and basically saying, "No, you have
Here's
to."
your baby.
Yes.
Here's your guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Your guy
And
did
he's
it.
so defeated. Kai is so defeated.
Right.
And that look on his face.
And
is
he's like,
just-
"It's okay."
Oh yeah.
Boom.
And
With
Burton
him
too,
looking
you
up
never
and
see
screaming.
him so
He chained
vulnerable
his
as you
butt.
do in that moment, and that's really
Absolutely.
powerful as well, because you know you've never had that moment with
Burton
Burton.
really was like Kai was his master. You
Yeah.
know, he really was serving him. He was a purist in another way of being so extreme and saving him from his own.
And I think Matt Roush, he's not here to speak for himself, but I think he might have muttered at those times too, like, "I thought she was yours. I thought it was yours," as in the baby. So he was trying to protect him.
Oh, interesting.
He was trying to protect
I didn't
him
pick up on
Yeah.
that.
from.
missed that.
Well, I don't know that it was in there, but I know that's what he
His
did. Because
process.
when
Yeah.
you're doing a scene like that, you start to mumble because
Yeah.
you're dying anyway, and they just kind of
no,
like,
I
get
think
whatever.
His performance. I mean, I remember literally watching the monitors and being transfixed by it. And then, of course, we had Ulrich screaming all of that pain. We had him do it about 12 times. We got it after the third, but it was just fun
Just
to make
kept making
Ulrich
it
scream 8 or 9
You
more
guys
times.
are evil.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I
And
say the other thing was like perspective of, because like Burton's like this lethal killer, like basically no one can take him down.
He's the most dangerous.
Yeah.
person
Yeah,
in
most like
Banshee.
lethal person in Banshee, but for a minute there, he's getting the best of Hood, and I don't think we've ever seen him be bested like this. And I was thinking, like, man, he took on Chayton. Like, how can this be happening?
Well-
but he hasn't necessarily been himself. Then you get all those really nice flashbacks to those moments, and then he switches it on. It was just beautiful to see.
And how great is that flying jump kick where he
Yeah,
hits the
so
water,
cool.
and we used the 45
I
degree
love
lens.
that.
Yes.
amazing.
Yes, yes.
I was like, ooh, a water fight with splashes.
Yeah, the water
I was
fight was
for
great.
it.
Yes.
I was for
Yes,
it.
in real water, that we had to get all of the bacteria and parasites out with some rubber rocks in there. But that was a pretty brutal.
I really thought there was
a-
going to be a drowning because of it, like a shallow drowning.
Oh wow, that would be
No, we just did some flash
That's what I
dancing.
was
Next time.
Right?
Next time, maybe.
But I loved the editing, that sort of emotional editing. We see him being choked out, and he's like reliving all of the giants that he's had
Yeah.
to fight off that he
Yeah.
has. There were some
the
flashbacks.
albino Carrie flashbacks.
Right, we had the albino Chayton, and we have Carrie flashbacks. There were some that were they young? Were they Anna? Because
Yes.
they looked so
Yes.
different.
Yeah.
I know
couldn't believe
because
how
because
different.
when I did that first show, first of all, when I'm Anna, when whoever is Anna, I like you're even like the wig I had to wear, like my whole head is pushed back underneath it, so like I have an instant facelift anyway to wear a wig. No, that's what happened.
Okay.
Like you literally pulled back to wear a wig, and that was like 5 years ago. Like I look back now and I'm like I was a baby.
Yeah, we were watching. You're like, oh, it's
baby me.
Yeah, it really. I mean,
Yeah.
it played well.
But that goes to the whole journey of Hood and where he ultimately ends up, and it all comes back to his love for Anna.
Yeah.
In that moment, his decision to live.
Yeah.
Hood could very well.
Well,
in
it
that moment,
ended on.
No,
that
it's
wasn't
Deva.
during that fight.
Yeah.
It was Deva that made him live
No,
there.
but then he sees Siobhan,
But it's all-
and
but-
I was
Yeah.
convinced he was gonna go to her. I was like, "Don't go, don't go.
Right,
He's
but
gonna
it's-
go.
it's all
Yeah.
part
It's too
of the
soon.
process.
It's only 35 minutes in. It's not gonna happen."
No, because our flashbacks don't actually happen till later. You're right.
Right, but it's
this
that whole,
is what
but
makes
it's that
them.
whole arc of it, and it's
Yeah.
funny because I know you guys had talked about at some point one of the predictions was that Hood had to die.
Yeah, I thought
You
you
know,
might.
and we talked a lot about that, and in a way, he does die in this
Right.
episode. He does. There is a moment where he gives up and looks back at all of his past sins and realizes that I can't move forward. And then, in that moment, he does realize that there are things to live
Well,
for.
Deva
Yeah,
really is
Deva
the thing.
and then the idea that what, I finally have a sense of who I am and my identity, and can now move forward
Purpose.
with a rebirth. And that scene really is about
Yeah.
a
Yes.
baptism.
Yeah,
in a
he's
way, a
literally
rebirth
in water. Yeah.
Has anyone here had a near-death experience like
Yes.
that close?
Of course, I'm adventurous.
Right. So have you like
Filming
literally?
Banshee.
No,
death
really,
row, where
no,
you saw
really.
the white light and everything?
Not like on an operating table, but where I was on mushrooms and I had oh my god, and I had climbed too far.
Amen.
Like I was like rock
Amen.
climbing and I went too far and I was like, oh, I can't get down, and oh, this is it, and the whole thing happened in
Yeah.
the slow motion, and I was like,
Sounds like a
Alright
great
then.
movie. No, both
was
my
18.
parents had near-death experiences,
And?
and both
White
of them
light?
told me that they literally white light and saw me, and that exact thing was the thing that
Well,
pulled them back.
they're
And
like,
to
they're
see-
not done with you.
Yeah, so does right.
There's also a medical explanation for that, which I will not go into. right
Listen,
now.
it doesn't matter what it's happened. So I
Read
thought it was
Proof
very
of Heaven, Adam Targum. Read Proof of Heaven.
it was impactful.
Yeah, well, we got a Yonner's flashback there in that sequence, right? Was that when we saw?
Yeah, we did. I saw
Yeah,
Yonners.
so.
I saw Yonners.
Yeah, which was like
we
really
do.
nice just to have him in the final episode. I thought that was really great. He was a character that meant a lot to both.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He did some great work there. My
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
especially in the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Moving right along. I wanted to talk about. Oh, by the way, a fan mentioned that killing someone with the butt of your rifle is butt stroking.
Yeah,
We got an answer to
sounds
that.
sexy to me.
Doesn't it?
I was just gonna say that's an awful use of butt stroking. I think
right.
better.
Well, I mean, pistol whip, butt stroke.
Wouldn't
what are
it
you
be
gonna
butt
do?
pounding?
That's according to our fan
that's
who
what
has
he said.
military expertise. No.
Butt stroked him.
Right?
AfterBuzz entertainment and infotainment.
Yes, it is.
Fun and educational
The
at
more
the same
you
time.
know. So I love that we get Hood and we get Sugar and Hood and Job, and we have that kind of family moment that we know is coming, and it's so uncomfortable. Like, oh, this is actually happening. And Hood, Job has hair. Is that a wig? How much time has
of course.
passed? Like he just brought
No,
that.
no,
in.
no. He's always doing
But he
wigs.
always,
But
Yeah,
he's always when he hasn't been tortured for the last
No. That
year and a half.
when
How
it's not.
deserving is that? I mean,
is
he's
there a
been
wig
tortured
shop
the
in
whole.
Banshee? Like I'm just
he's a pro.
seasoned.
He's a pro.
No. When you see that blonde hair, Job has
returned.
always had wigs. That's a wig, and it's meant to be a wig. It's not like I grew my hair and I bleached it. It was like I got wigs, yo.
Yeah.
And I found more.
Well, that's what I was impressed by, that he had recovered so well and found himself a weave.
And he got to he's like on vacation the entire
his
finale. Like Job just is like chilling,
hanging out.
Yeah,
He's doing
just
great.
hanging out. Everybody
You know,
else
he
is,
gets
fucking
to
dying.
hang out with a giant machine gun on top of a tractor trailer.
and
you know, he
say
gets to-
things like "suck my tit,"
Yeah.
which is just
Yeah.
amazing.
I kind of loved seeing him come back to
There-
to the beginning of Job. Like you know, he had a full.
but changed.
Yeah.
But yes.
You know,
But but he was still, you know, his old.
Hoon Lee,
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
the one unfortunate part of
another toast
Ching
to
ching.
Clink, 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 clink.
Mr. Hoon Lee.
Amazing.
And by the way, if any actors do watch this and we didn't toast, it's just because we were late and we didn't have enough time to toast
Yes,
everybody.
yes. Much like the show itself this season, there were so many
It was-
storylines we
by the
wanted
way,
to
it was
explore.
late.
So many things we wanted to do.
What was that about?
Well, what?
Why were we
Having-
late?
Yeah. No,
we
not
were having
tonight.
drinks.
I mean, having the show
Oh.
premiering later.
Oh well, that was a network decision for whatever decisions they make. But in terms of doing the 8 episodes, we were only able to explore so much on the show, and there was so much more that we wanted to do. There was so much more we wanted to do with Cruz. There was so much more we wanted to do with all of these characters. And unfortunately, we had a wealth of riches on this show. So many characters to explore, so many storylines to explore. And really, you come down to saying, okay, how do you juggle it all and get it into into an hour show? And
We
hopefully
did
we
it.
did the best that we could.
You guys did it.
Yeah, you absolutely
we
did
get
it.
our moment with Carrie, and Hood, or John Smith, whatever his name is.
Well, yeah, we'll say that. But there's a moment. So he's like that was the other moment I rolled tears seeing you hug him at the end. That was. I cried both times. I watched
Me
this
too. I did
both
too.
of these
We
scenes.
did too.
I cried both times because it was just so beautiful. But there's a moment he says, "Goodbye, Anna," and you say, "It's Carrie." And for a second there, I thought you said,
It's Gary.
It's Gary.
Me too.
And I thought, is that some sort of bait and switch for us?
That's not what she said.
No, I said it's Carrie.
Surprise! It's Gary.
That's what it sounded like. I was like, it wouldn't make any sense. Why would she say it's Gary to him?
I
Like, that's his
literally
name.
listened to that 3 times.
No, I did.
I was looking for the
That would have
You're
been a
backing
twist
it
if
up.
Anna's real name was Gary instead.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Gary.
But that's okay. Since we're talking about his name, we get the file open there. I freeze framed it the second time I watched it, and it says John Smith. Is that his name?
No.
No.
I didn't think so, but I was just
Look,
kind of
it's
hoping.
not a secret. I mean,
Gary.
and Jonathan himself has said Jonathan does not know what his
Yeah,
name
he doesn't.
is.
I know that.
You
yeah.
know, and the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter. He is, the man with no name. And the truth is, the way that the season ends and the way that the series ends, it's the first time that he's going to actually go into the world as this new man with a
Right.
new identity. So everything in the past doesn't matter anymore.
Sure.
Anna will always matter to him, but in terms of and David will always matter, but in terms of who he is himself, he's reborn.
That's right.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
old name doesn't matter
And
anymore.
there was a take where he rode out on the motorcycle naked.
Yes, we just didn't use that. We just didn't use that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he got a
Extra
burn, and an
footage.
ant was complaining. It was on
Yeah. No, I totally get that we were never going to know his name. There's just some part of me that kind of wants to be like, what is his name?
Yeah.
But I get that's part of the fun.
You
of the
don't
show.
want it.
You don't.
You
I
don't want
don't.
it. And actually, now the best name ever is Gary.
Yeah.
Because anything cool would not work.
Yeah.
No offense to the Garys out there.
No,
okay?
no offense to the
Yeah.
Garys out there. It's
Wow.
how.
Gary's.
I think Trieste. I don't know if it was on your show or another person's show. They were like, yo, what's his name? And when he was, remember when he had to whisper her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
He, as a joke, because
Yes.
he would be like,
She shared that with us.
yeah, that was you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes. I love that Sugar gets the moment. Like Sugar gets to
know.
wrap it up at the end.
Yes.
Like as
He should. That's how it
Frankie
started.
Faison, incomparable.
he's amazing, and
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like we never got enough. Like again, like
There's not enough of Frank.
There's never enough.
There can be no enough Frankie.
Agreed.
Is the thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there you're screwed any which way you try to
And
slice
he's
it.
too potent. You can only
Right.
deal with
That's a
small
lot of
doses.
molasses.
But that voiceover of just like we are cons and we've been taught to believe that we're only gonna you know repent in a cell. But what if there's another way? What if you're gonna go on this journey and that is
Yeah. And that's the moment for me when I had predicted, well, maybe he dies and that's how the show ends. But when we get that speech from him, that was the moment of like, he can start over, he can build a new life for him. And that's why that paid off so well for me.
comfortable in his own skin, and that's
Yeah.
something that Lucas Hood, or whatever his real name is, has never been.
Yeah.
He's never been able to just be okay with himself
Yeah.
and with his place in the world. And it took a whole lot of people dying and
Yeah.
a whole lot of heartache and turmoil for him to finally get to a place where he could at least accept who he is as a human being and move forward into the world with that new insight and that new perspective. And that's the rebirth, and that's why we felt that was the most fitting ending for this
Yeah.
character.
It was-
Instead
I
of a
think
death,
any other
but
show would have fucking killed him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she decides that such a man can be forgiven.
Yes.
And
Now Proctor, on the other hand,
Yes. By the way, is that a Tommy gun?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting here going, who thinks of this shit?
yes, that is a vintage Tommy. Well, what more fitting of
And
a
that
weapon
felt very
for the enigmatic, quirky Kai Proctor than for him to pull out a vintage Tommy gun.
Is that one of those guns
Yeah.
with a circle?
Yes.
around?
with a 100
Yes.
round magazine.
Yes.
That's a real vintage weapon that he pulled out.
I love that he's not going to go down without a fight. Like I love that he's going to create as much carnage
Broken leg and
as
all. He
possible
can.
Yes.
On the way
on
down.
his way down.
fearlessly
Yeah.
limp out into his own.
Well, I will say,
driveway and
Kai
face
Proctor
down.
died when he snapped Burton's neck. When he
Oh,
realized
yeah.
when he realized that Rebecca was
No
ulti-
mother.
Right.
No Rebecca.
Yeah. Nobody. But Rebecca died because of him. He
Right.
understood that
Yeah.
Burton was simply the mechanism
Right.
by which Proctor ultimately killed this innocent. And in that moment, that's when he died. And he went home and he knew that he was a dead man anyway.
Crawled his ass all the way
Yeah,
out
how
of
did
there
he get
being
home?
home.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you get
crawled.
home?
No, he took an Uber. Or as Ulrich says, an Uber. But yeah, and then the Colombian hit squad showed up.
Yeah.
I love seeing him go. Like,
You mean yourself?
yeah.
I
You
don't know
guys
what
know
you
that,
mean.
right? The leader
By
of
the
Colombian
way,
hit squad
Adam
was Adam
Targum is the
Targum.
center.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
I recognize that.
What was
beard.
his name?
I
You
didn't.
named him.
That was a reveal of today's show.
I remember there was a name.
I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I think I gave him a Hebrew name. I don't remember. His name was
Okay.
Gary, which is a perfect time for us to bring up our incredible director O.C. Madsen,
So-
Yeah.
who and executive producer who was so instrumental in this season and all the seasons and the look of the show,
Yeah.
and certainly in these last two episodes and the first two. But this is a beautiful episode. The performances are beautiful.
Yes.
Jonathan's script was beautiful, and
Yes.
Jonathan and OC
Yeah.
shot it masterfully.
Agreed.
So
How,
Incomparable. It's like it's just that's the word. Like you're so right. Like it's just fucking.
so, how do you decide who gets to direct the last episode? Do you guys all like draw straws or something, or like?
That's decided pretty early on.
yeah, no, it was going to be OC all along. OC. Obviously, Greg was the visionary that
Yeah.
really established the look of the show and what Banshee
And the
was all
grit.
about. Yeah, he laid that foundation. OC came in early in the first season, and I think maybe it was 4 or 5. The first episode that he directed,
He did
Amazing.
6 and 3.
yeah,
Amazing.
he's the one that really figured out sort of the flashback style, some of the nonlinear stuff, and
Great.
collectively that was when the creative team looked at it and said, this is what Banshee is. So in a lot of ways, OC is responsible for what ultimately became the signature
Sure.
Banshee look. So it seemed, and Greg, was off doing another project. So, in lieu of Greg, it felt like OC was
Should
the
be
only
OC.
person that could do the
Yeah.
show justice.
Yes, that's
Really
for
good.
sure. I can't
And he
think. I
did.
can't think of
He
anyone
sure
else.
did.
He
And he did.
did. He did.
Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't have him here. I asked him on the red carpet for the premiere, and he said that he's not here during when it airs.
Yeah.
He's back home.
He's in Cannes
Denmark,
with
right?
Cannes with Ulrich.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
fancy.
Yes. So they're probably up somewhere now drinking.
Having a great time.
They're sleeping now.
We close out the
not.
show
Imagine
with
the two
what
of
are
them.
you going to do now?
Yeah, that's like the question to like the audience. What are you gonna do now? There's nothing to watch on
I think
TV
it's the
anymore.
question
gotta watch
for
it again.
everyone. What are you going to do now, audience? And then I would like to ask everyone in this room, what are you going to do now? Starting with you, Chris Coy.
I'm gonna fight somebody.
Are you?
Fuck yeah. Nothing else
Do you
to
have any
all
projects
Saturday.
coming up? I know we asked you last week. Any new news?
No new news.
Nothing you can share.
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Nothing he can share.
I fly to New York on Sunday trying to grab something.
That's
Okay.
all he can
We're
share.
all going to be thinking thick for you
Cool,
on
thanks.
Sunday. Adam, what's up? Anything you can discuss?
There's some things going on.
Hmm.
The thing I can discuss is
Outcast.
there is a new show by Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead.
Yep.
Little show.
Yes, and June 3rd on Cinemax premieres. It is a very scary show for people that like
It's too scary.
scary
It looks a
things.
little
It looks very
Patrick
scary.
Fugit is starring in it, and
Love him.
it's a really good show. I'll be honest, it's not Banshee, but nothing is.
No.
But I highly recommend it, and it's
Yeah,
gonna be-
Variety wrote an article yesterday and recommended it as
Yeah.
a good summer watch.
Yeah, it's really good, and what sets it apart is that much like Banshee was a show about really interesting people, a really great character drama with shocking
Craziness.
moments of violence and craziness. Same thing with Outcast. Outcast is really a show about people with moments of horror and dread and scariness.
So you're saying it's not all scary.
No, there's a few
It
moments
looks
Scary.
that
I
may
would
not-
not watch
terrifying
that.
to me.
may not-
Like,
it's pretty scary. And then beyond that, there's a whole bunch of other things going on that I'll be talking about sometime in the near future.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ivana, what about you? What's up? What's next?
I told
for
you all about Power.
Did
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
now I'm just like chilling and like also like Chris Coy up for things that I'll tell you about when it all happens.
Thinking thick for you as well, and
Thank
Anna.
you.
I have my
Did you say
fingers-
thinking thick?
Yeah, think thick.
Oh, I love it thick. Go ahead.
Oh
I didn't,
my!
I didn't
that
even
took a
mean it like
sharp
that.
left.
I didn't even mean it like that.
Yeah, I have my fingers crossed, so I could use your.
Okay, we're all thinking thick.
Yeah,
Ivana.
let's do it.
Chris, are you thinking thick?
Yeah. yeah.
Is there any other way?
No, there's no.
Where you can find me is thinking about Ivana saying that for the next 10 minutes.
Can I ask you guys one question?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because this is something that I think we've all been slightly concerned about and really are excited to hear what the fans think. Do you think that we wrapped up this show the right way? Do you think that we did this show and these characters justice? Because we all felt a real responsibility. We have the best fans that have ever been.
Word.
And they put their faith and their trust into us to take care of their show for them, and we really took that responsibility seriously. And hopefully, this final episode of this enigmatic series, gave people the closure that they wanted. It's bittersweet, of course, but
Now we're gonna say. Yes, it was amazing.
It was amazing. I think that after the heights that season 3 reached, I figured like, well, how much higher can you go with this sort of high octane action? So I think it's the smart choice to make it more character based this season, but still give us decisions based on what we've already seen and development of those characters further. It's disappointing that it has to end because you don't want it to end, because this has been, since Breaking Bad, my favorite show on the air. So for me, it pays off in so many ways. And not to get too sentimental here for a minute, but you guys have supported this show so well that it makes us feel like we're part of the Banshee family. And stuff.
You are.
Right.
Well, then can I propose a toast to all of our Banshee fans?
Yes.
Yes.
And to you guys and all of our amazing cast and crewmates who are not with us.
Yes.
To Jonathan and to Greg and
Yes.
OC and
OC,
everybody else
everybody.
involved and all of our wonderful friends on the
You
show.
have to drink.
In gratitude.
Cheers.
Yay! Couldn't agree more. I felt exactly the same way. Cried my eyes out, but I felt like watching Hood ride off into, the proverbial sunset was just perfection after the culmination, saying goodbye to all these characters. I'm so sad about it, but it's here, Fancies. It's over. We're just gonna have to watch
really
it
sad.
over and over.
No. If we don't
That
end
was my
if we don't end the
favorite.
show, then it's not over. So
Okay,
let's
so
just
we'll just stay here.
I will say that I've never had more fun, and I've never been more challenged, and I've never been or felt more honored to do anything ever.
Really?
To date. And I'll never have this experience again, because it was my first time being a lead with Jonathan Tropper, first time doing a show with Greg Gatinis, first time doing a show from its inception, with Antony Starr doing his first show in America. So
By the way, shout out to Anthony. We haven't even talked
Oh,
about
yeah,
his
yeah.
I
freaking
know.
performance.
It almost goes
unbelievable.
his
without saying.
performance
It does go
The whole
without
show
saying.
is
out of
Unreal.
control.
Incredible.
Very
So
alive.
good.
But so for me personally, I've never had all of those firsts, and I remember that scene with when I was saying goodbye to Hood, or whatever his name is. I couldn't stop crying. Were you there that
Yeah,
day?
I was.
I couldn't. It wasn't appropriate per se. You certainly didn't use any of my blubbering takes, but because I kept thinking, because Jonathan was there as well, and I was like, I'm his first leading lady forever, and it just meant so much to me.
yeah.
It was very. I felt very honored and grateful.
See, what
to
you didn't
have
know,
this
Ivana,
love.
is as you were crying, everybody behind the monitors was too. So
They
every
were?
time, everybody. It was
course.
it was so sentimental and hard for And again, as you can tell the story, but the final scene that we shot was one of your therapy scenes with Dr. Hubbard.
I know. Oh, and I by the way, just trivia. The very first scene of Banshee was it was a shot of me with Gordon, and the very last scene was with me too. And I think I love the show more than anybody.
Bookends.
Probably not more than me.
Beautiful.
Well, around there. Not that other people didn't love it, but damn, I loved our show so much. I really did, and I loved everybody there, and I love everybody so hard.
Love fest.
Yeah.
But here it
Love
is. We're at the
fest,
end, unfortunately. And we're at the end of our show, too, guys.
No predictions?
No predictions.
Geez, what could we predict for season 5? That's happening, right?
Right?
There's a season 5. Just say the words.
Surprise!
There may have been a lunch where Jonathan and I talked about Brock Lotus and Job opening a detective agency in Jamaica. Yes, didn't quite come to fruition, but we talked about it. So maybe sometime.
I
Amazing.
feel like I could just watch any show that you guys write at this point.
Banshee was special.
So Matt Servito, if you're listening, start writing, my friend.
Yes. Thank you all for being here. We're going to do our little round the world. So, Chris Coy, where can everyone find you on Twitter?
Twitter at Mr. Chris Coy and Instagram Christopher James Coy.
All right, Adam.
And Twitter's just at Adam Targum.
All right. Ivana.
Ivana Milicevic, Twitter and Instagram. My Snapchat is Ivana the Hut.
So cool. So freaking cool.
So cool.
If I needed any more reason to like love Ivana, it's that she loves Star Wars. It's over for me.
Anna.
Twitter at Anna Ayora and Instagram at Anna Carolina Ayora.
You can find me weeping gently for the next week. The Banshee was over, and that I never got to be on the show. I never auditioned, so I guess that's some small detail. I guess there's that too. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Isaac Johnson. Also, Cocktail Cinema. We make drinks and talk about movies, so that's a thing. Yeah.
It's been so
Why
real,
is this
Isaac.
over?
I know. I've had so
It's
much
not
fun
over.
with you.
You guys
It's-
come over tomorrow to my party.
It's never over.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Yes.
No.
It's never over.
I'm gonna be in Vegas. It's my 4-year anniversary. But yeah, that's a better
You're
thing.
married? I thought we were.
That's what this thing is.
Okay, weird.
I can ask my wife if it's okay for us to get married, but I don't know what she'll say.
No.
Okay.
Banshees forever. Banshees will always have Banshee living in our hearts forever and ever. This was such an incredibly special show. Big thanks to HBO PR for bringing everyone in studio all season long and the past seasons as well. And big shout out to all you fans at home. We're gonna miss you big time.
Oh yeah,
I
best
miss you
fans ever.
already.
Yes. All those Banshee babes out there. We
Banshee babes!
Yes.
really love you.
Right.
Thank you
Until
guys
next
so much.
time, yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Forever, Banshee.
Banshees forever!
Banshees forever.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.